2009 a Department of Homeland Security report that was published by Daryl Johnson, who was a head of a part of Homeland Security that focused on right-wing extremism in this country. Now, since 2009, the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI wanted to focus in on right-wing extremism because we elected our first black president, and of course you have a couple right-wingers that might want to do something violent because of it, right? So they're like, okay, there might be a threat here, let's do the research, let's release the report, and let's see if our government does anything about it.
Right, and I want to remind everybody, there were already significant threats and a plot stopped against Obama's life while he was campaigning. So it's not like they're right after he came in, they're like, oh, let's investigate these groups out of nowhere.
Right.
They already had significant concerns about the plots that were planned against the president.
Right. So in 2009, the Department of Homeland Security published a report called Right-Wing Extremism, Current Economic and Political Climate Fueling Resurgence and Radicalization and Recruitment. Okay. After they released that report, which, by the way, was very credible, it turns out that right-wing members of the media and right-wing extremists gave them an extremely hard time. Okay, you have Rush Limbaugh talking about how, oh, the Department of Homeland Security is saying that all conservatives are right-wing extremists that want to destroy the country. You know, you have people like Sean Hannity completely twisting and turning the report to make it seem like it was this crazy biased report that had no credibility whatsoever.
And we cover that a lot on the Young Turks. And what they were trying to do is substitute right-wing extremists for just right-wing. So the attempt by the right-wing media was to say, you see that he comes into office, and immediately he's trying to shut down the right wing in this country, the political right wing in this country, which is not what the report was about at all. If you actually read the report, it was about extremists who were actually plotting violence.
And extremism in the United States is a growing issue, and it's a growing problem that we need to tackle, or else we're going to have all of these severe problems and all these cases where innocent people are getting killed. So what did the report find? The report found that anti-government patriot groups, okay, these are the right-wing extremist groups, have increased significantly since 2008. So in 2008, there were 149 of these groups. However, by 2010, there were 824 of these groups.
In 2 years, a massive increase. But hey, let's not investigate them. God forbid we should look into extremist groups, unless they're Muslim, in which case we should hold congressional hearings like Representative King did from New York.
Just to focus on that for a second, right? When it comes to members of Homeland Security that are given the task of analyzing right-wing extremists, right now there are 0. Because this group got ousted from the Homeland Security Department. Okay. However, when it comes to analyzing Islamic extremists, there are 25 members.
Yeah, that's right. So if you're Muslim, they're coming to get you. You're a right-wing extremist and your numbers have just, what, more than quadrupled? There isn't a single person in Homeland Security whose job is to organize fighting these guys.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's what Daryl Johnson talks about. He's sending out red flags. He I believe, is a former Republican. And he's saying,
yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's like, look, this isn't a partisan thing. These guys are dangerous. They might kill people. Red flag, red flag. Can we look into them? And they're like,
no,
not
but
so much.
But they're so scared of conservatives in the media criticizing them and twisting their words. They're so scared that they're like, oh my God, we have to disown this report, and we also have to get rid of every single person that was involved in doing the research for this report and writing this report. They ousted them out of the Department of Homeland Security. It's freaking ridiculous. So look.
But to be fair, I mean, it's a Republican administration, so wait a minute. It's a Democratic administration. By the way, self-preservation, shouldn't that kick in at some point? These guys are looking to do you harm physically. At some point, don't you say, hey, you know what? We should put a couple of guys on that.
No,
it's unbelievable, man. I mean, he does everything they asked for.